there are 15% of persons diagnosed with thyroids. And in an early conversation, we were talking about thyroids and that you are struggling with thyroids. Can you give us some of your experience with thyroids?
See, I didn't notice the changes. I mean, I've been single for my husband died 7 years ago, so I've been celibate for 10 years.
Sorry about that.
So I'm not one for checking down there regularly. I didn't even think I needed to check down there. I got that lump there for 12 months and I wasn't bothered about it. You know, I could forget about it, didn't bother me. But as soon as they told me, men need to talk about it more, men need to check themselves regular like we do. You know, I put a video out there and now I say, when you check your baps, check your flaps. That's, you know, it's a funny way of remembering it. When you check your...
My mom died of cancer and it tore me apart. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Brian and this is the Ivy Cancer Podcast. The death of my mom had inspired me to interview people with cancer or who have been affected to help spread awareness. The broader my subscribers are, the more people will be motivated to share their story. So if you come across this platform and you would like to help me achieve this goal, please hit the subscribe button. It will be greatly appreciated. A video will be uploaded every Wednesday. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, well, I'm a 55-year-old grandmother. Well, 56, end of this month.
Yeah.
I've got 2 grown children and 5 grandchildren and I live in Leeds. So, I have a dog who's no but bark, and I work for the local council.
Okay. Okay.
That's about me.
Well, I appreciate you take the time out to share your story on the Ivy Cancer Podcast. It is the 2019 statistics show that there are 15% of persons diagnosed with thyroids. And in an early conversation, we were talking about thyroids and that you are struggling with thyroids. Can you give us some of your experience with thyroids?
I've always been struggled with weight. I've been to doctors with thyroid and they're like, no, it's fine. Anyway, they checked it about 9 months ago and they said, oh, you're on borderline. So we'll start you off on 25 milligram and see how you go. And within 9 months, I went from 25 milligram to 100 milligram. Really struggling, the weight gain, struggling. They've just got it up to 100 now. So I'm just going on with that for a couple of months just to hopefully that's leveled it out now. But yeah, I think I've suffered a lot of years with thyroid and it's only been recently that they tested me.
So, does it affect your daily life?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Hi. YouTube have 2 ways to push your channel. With that said, I'm asking you 2 quick favors. If you like what I'm doing and want to support my growth, please give me a thumbs up so that YouTube could send my videos out to like-minded viewers just like you. 2, I've noticed that 70% of you who have revisited this channel have not yet subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button. That way my channel will grow. And my promise to you is to give you more content with substance just like these. Do we have a deal? Thank you.
It makes you constantly tired. When you're my age, you're going through menopause anyway, so it makes the menopause symptoms 10 times worse. So tiredness, losing your hair, bloated, putting weight on, achy joints. I found that my hip were really hurting and pains in my wrists. And just generally just feeling really rubbish, feeling run down, no energy, got no motivation to do anything. I do feel a little bit better now since I booked them on to 100 milligram. I do feel a bit better, but I'm taking a lot of supplements myself. So I think I'm like Brazil nuts are supposed to be good for thyroid. 5 Brazil nuts a day are supposed to help your thyroid do what it needs to do. So I've been taking them for about 2 weeks, but just stuff that's really good for thyroid, and hopefully keep my levels level by myself without any more medication, if you get me. So yeah, it's a struggle.
So have you noticed any difference since you start taking the nuts?
I've only been taking them 2 weeks, so I don't really know. But my last blood test, it said I had adequate, my meds were adequate. So they haven't upped them and they haven't downed them. But hopefully when I get my next blood test, I'll have been taking these for like 6 weeks then. So hopefully it will show the difference then.
Okay. In our previous conversation, we were talking about, you know, some of the struggles that you face. And one of them is sleep apnea.
Yeah. Sleep apnea. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I think for years, but nobody ever told me that I snored until probably about 8 years ago. And then everybody were like, I'm not sharing a room with her when we go on holiday and that. I'm not sharing a room with her. She's too loud. You can't get any sleep. And I'm like, I don't snore. And my granddaughter recorded it and said, Nana, this is how loud you are. So I downloaded an app onto my phone called Snore Lab. And it records you snoring in the night and it gives you the score. And a normal snorer score is 25, and I was in like 280 and 290. So I recorded a few of the sessions and took them to doctors. And I said, look, doctor, you know that I don't sleep because I'm also diagnosed with something called multifactorial sleep disorder. In other words, they've done all the tests that they can and they can't find out why I don't sleep. They don't know why, so they call it this multifactorial sleep disorder. But as part of this journey of trying to get diagnosis, they tested me for sleep apnea, and lo and behold, I had it. So I have a machine now, which I try to wear. That causes obesity as well. So really? Yeah, sleep apnea causes obesity because you don't sleep properly. So your brain doesn't go into reset mode, and it doesn't feed your metabolism. So your metabolism's really slow. And it causes heart problems as well if you don't use your machine. Now, I have to say, I've had my machine over a year now and I struggle to wear it every night. I really do. Because I have the full face mask one, because I'm a mouth breather, so mine's a full face mask. And if you wake up, because I wake up a lot through night, when you wake up in the middle of the night, it's like somebody's suffocating you. Because as you fall asleep, it ramps up automatically. So it senses when you're asleep and that's when it ramps up. But if you wake up when it's ramped up, it's like you're down a wind tunnel and you can't get your breath. It's horrible. It's horrible. So I'm trying. The most I usually have it on is 4.5 hours it records, but that's broken sleep.
Would this be a matter of concern for you?
Only because of the other. I mean, I'm used to not sleeping now. It's been like this since I was in my 20s, and I'm 55 now. So I think I'm used to that now. My body's got used to that amount of sleep. But yeah, I do worry because they say, you know, oh, you're at risk of heart disease, coronary heart disease, you know, obesity. So I'm on a weight journey as well at the moment, a weight loss journey under the tier 3 management, weight management at Leeds.
Oh, okay.
So I'm on a weight journey with them, but it's just like you feel like you're fighting a losing battle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I came across your page. You were having a live and you were speaking about skin cell carcinoma.
Yeah.
And as you would call it, your flip-flop.
Yeah. On my flap.
Yeah. Tell us what led you from in the first place to notice the changes that led you to go to see a GP.
See, I didn't notice the changes. I mean, I've been single for like, my husband died 7 years ago, so I've been celibate for 10 years.
Sorry about that.
So I'm not one for checking down there regularly. I didn't even think I needed to check down there. And I was just trying myself one day and I felt this lump and I thought, oh, what's that? Didn't hurt. So I left it and then I felt it again a couple of months ago. Still same place, didn't seem to get any bigger. Anyway, after about 6 months, I thought I need to look and just check what this lump is. So I looked on Google, and Google said it was a Bartholomew cyst. So I thought, oh, brilliant, it's a cyst, it's nothing to worry about. You know, it'll go away on its own. Anyway, it didn't go away, and it started to get a little bit bigger. And it were catching on my underwear, it were catching when I was drying myself, catching when I was going to the toilet. So when Google said it was a cyst, I went on and had a look, and Google says you can try a hot cloth, put a red hot cloth on it to try and burst it or whatever. So we're trying all of these remedies to try and burst this cyst, and I ended up making it sore. So I thought, well, do you know what? There's not, I'm going to have to go to doctors. So I finally plucked up the courage to go to the doctors, and the doctor had a look at it, and she called another doctor in, and the second doctor looked, and she said, I can confirm it's not genital warts. And I went, I beg your pardon? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
So I took a picture of it before I got to the doctors. I don't know how I managed to get a picture of it, but I did. And I was looking at it, and when I went to the doctors, I went, Doctor, I've got a lump, look. You know, I showed her it on this, hoping that I wouldn't have to get undressed, but she made me get undressed.
Yeah.
But when I saw it on the pic, it looked like a white hard lump. It did look like a wart, but it was like a creamy colour.
Oh.
And I would say it was about as big as my fingernail. So it was a white hard lump that were about as big as my fingernail. It didn't get much bigger over the 12 months. But it became more noticeable, if you know what I mean. It was catching on things. So the doctor said, I don't think it's anything to worry about. I think it might be a Bartholomew cyst. Just keep your eye on it, and if anything changes, as in skin changes, or the lump gets any bigger, or anything like that, come straight back. So I came home, and then later on that night, the doctor phoned me and said, actually, we've had a debrief, and we think, just to make sure it's nothing more sinister, we'd like to refer you to the gun clinic. We've sent you a text message with a form, fill that form in and they will ring you. So I filled the form in, sent it off, and a couple of days later I got a phone call from this lady, this doctor, and she said she was from Leeds Sexual Health Clinic, and I was like, Sexual Health Clinic?
Yeah, because...
Are you sure you got the right number?
Yeah, because you in your head, you couldn't have nothing sexual because you've been a celibate.
Exactly.
So you couldn't have nothing.
Exactly, so I'm like... So I said, are you sure you've got the right number?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, your doctor's referred you. And I was like, yeah, but they haven't referred me to the sexual health clinic. And she said, no, let me just explain. She said, they've referred you to Gum Clinic, and it stands for genital urinary medicine, I don't know.
Right.
And she said, this clinic, we specialise in genitals, men and women.
Right.
So it's within the sexually transmitted disease part, because people go to a sexual health clinic to get things, the genitals looked at, and if it's not a sexually transmitted disease, then they move them on to the gum clinic.
Right.
Because it could be that's where you get your cysts or your cancer or your stuff like that. So when she explained it to me, it actually made sense as to why they were there, because they're the experts, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they made me an appointment a few days after the doctor had referred me, and I went down to see them, and they were fabulous. There were a consultant and 2 nurses, and she diagnosed it straight away. She looked at it straight away and said to me, it's a squamous cell carcinoma. So my doctor told me skin cell carcinoma. So I came home and Googled it, and it said that it's caught mostly through too much exposure to the sun.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't walk around naked. You know, how the hell am I going
right
there?
Right down there. Yeah.
I don't, you know, I'm not in the habit of walking around with no clothes on. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Right.
No, and I couldn't work that out. Anyway, so the gum clinic diagnosed it straight away, and they said to me, we'll refer you now to St James's Gynecology, and they'll arrange for you to go in and have a look at it and then remove it. So I don't know if my doctor had a word with the gynecology clinic, because I have a mild form of agoraphobia, but I'm really bad anxiety.
Right.
I have an OCD, so it was like the doctor knew straight away to jump it. Don't give her time to think about anything, because if you give her a day to think about it, she'll be a nervous wreck by. So the doctor, St James's rang me on the Wednesday at 12:30, and she said, "Can you get down today at 3:30?" And I was like, "Today?" So she said, "Yeah, you know, let's have a look." Anyway, so I went down, and there was a consultant, a surgeon, and a nurse, and they were absolutely brilliant. She had a look at it, and she said, "Yeah, it's definitely a squamous cell carcinoma, and it needs to come off." So I expected them to say, "We'll send for you." And she said, are you up for it today? And I went, "What?" She said, "Are you up for it removing today while you're here? If you're brave enough to have it under local anaesthetic, I'll remove it today."
Yeah.
So I thought, while I'm here, I'm already here.
Might as well.
Already in the position, you know, she's already down there, just get it off.
Okay.
So so I had local anaesthetic. Now, if you've ever been to dentist, that's exactly what it is. It's the numbing injection.
Okay.
You know, the first needle hurts, doesn't it? So the first needle did hurt, and I was like, "Oh God!" Yeah, the first needle was painful, but after that, I didn't feel anything. They cut it off. They used something called silver nitrate.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than use stitches, it's like it looks like a solder or a weld. Because I told them I was going on holiday. I said, "I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks." So she said, "Oh, well, we won't use stitches because that might cause a bit of an itch or whatever. We'll use this silver nitrate because it heals quicker." And you know what? It was brilliant. Absolutely fabulous. So within 10 days of me being diagnosed, so I'd been diagnosed, been to 2 clinics and had it removed, and was sat back at home in the kitchen all within 10 days.
When was this diagnosed?
So this will be now going on to 11 week.
So it's just recent.
It's just recent, yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, it seems to me like, you know, after you heard the news, it's something that you took very well. So,
yeah.
Didn't it bother you when they said to you it's...
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. So I got that lump there for 12 months, and I wasn't bothered about it. You know, I could forget about it, didn't bother me. But as soon as they told me it was cancer, I just wanted it off. I just wanted it off. So when she said to me, "Are you up for it today?" I was like, "Yeah, just get rid of it." It was weird because I'd ignored it for 12 months and just shrugged it off and didn't even think nothing of it.
So did they run any further tests that on you or anything like that?
So I've had cervical cancer. When I was 25, I had HVP, but it had gone high. I had high, so I ended up having to have part of my cervix removed when I was 25. I had 5 years of all clear, and then my life became a bit chaotic, and I was homeless at one point, and I missed a smear, then I missed another, then I missed another, and before I knew it, I'd missed 25 years of smears. So when I had this lump checked, when I went to the clinic, they said, "Look, while I'm here, can we do a smear?" And I said, "Look, just do it. Do whatever you need to do now." And that came back normal. I couldn't believe that. I convinced myself that my cervical cancer had come back.
So, so someone was on the live earlier. I'm not certain if she's still here, but she had asked the question, is HPV have any link to cancer?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I said to her. You know, it has some link to cervical cancer. So this confirmed what she had asked. So you had HPV and it led to cervical cancer.
It led to cervical cancer, yeah. They lasered it, then it came back, and then they used a cone biopsy twice, then it came back, so they removed part of the cervix.
Okay.
And then I got 5 years all clear from that, and then they went by the wayside.
Okay.
So I was convinced that in the 25 years I've not had a smear, that my cervical cancer had come back and this cancer was a secondary. So I was convinced that my days were numbered, if you like. And I was lucky. I was extremely lucky for 2 reasons. One, I should have never, ever, ever have let my smears go that long without getting one done. To the point where I even signed a waiver at the doctors because I've got that far it was like I didn't want to know. I'm very lucky, Di, very lucky. I was like, I don't want to know now, it's too late now. If I get it now, it's too late. So I even signed a letter with the doctor to say that if I got it, you'd offered me smears and don't send me any more letters. And it came back normal. I don't have to have another one for 60 months. So all them years I've been worrying that this one I was going to come back. I just had to go and have that smear.
Yeah.
So that's the one reason. And then the other reason, I was very lucky that the squamous cell carcinoma is slow growing, because I found it 12 months before I had it looked at, but I don't know how long I'd had it there. It was just by chance that I found it.
Oh.
Very much blessed, very much blessed.
Um.
There's a lady on here who's recovering from breast cancer. I saw her come in.
Okay.
Told her about you and told her that you're looking for people to do talks.
Okay. The Rock said she found her mom found lung cancer by accident. I hope she I hope she's one of the persons who had beat it as well.
Yeah.
So when you were younger, you got diagnosed with cervical cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And now 5 years later, no, 20 odd years later,
Nearly 30 years later,
you are diagnosed with skin.
squamous cell carcinoma. Yeah.
What were some of the medication you underwent?
So I just had it removed.
That was it. So they didn't do any surgery after? Any medication after?
No, I didn't need it. So when they removed it, they said they were a bit concerned. I'll tell you what it looked like, Vicky. So it was a small, hard, white lump. It looked a bit like a wart. But when I say hard, I don't mean rock hard. It wasn't a cyst. You know the difference between an abscess and a cyst, don't you? And it didn't hurt. So it wasn't infected. It was just a white, hard lump that looked like a wart. It did look like a wart.
Didn't you have any other? Did you have any other symptoms with
No.
it? No
No.
symptoms.
No.
Okay.
And the only thing I can think of how I've caught it is going on the sunbeds with no bottoms on. And the stand-up ones that you used to go on. I used to go on the stand-up ones. I mean, I haven't for years, and even then, I only used to do like 3 minutes and 3 minutes twice a week. But that's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
How I developed it.
So what about the cervical cancer? Did you get any treatment apart from just the operation?
I had, when I first got it, so it would have abnormal cells, which is HPV. So when I first got it, they tried it with laser. And then it came back a couple of years later. So they did cone biopsies where they cut part of it out and then laser. And then when it came back again, they removed part of that cervix where they'd lasered and that, they just removed it.
Okay.
And they said to me, if I wanted to have any more children, they'd have to stitch the cervix. As I got, I'd have to let them know straight away because they'd need to put stitches in so that I could hold the pregnancy. But I didn't want any more children anyway.
Okay, so you had children already?
Yeah, I had 2 children, and he had testicular cancer at 25.
Really?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with cervical cancer at 25. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer at 25, and my mum was diagnosed with tumour of the womb at 28.
So basically, cancer is prominent in the family.
Yeah, my son and I did some research because they think there was a link between cervical cancer, testicular cancer, and it being formed in the womb. So they think they were checking to see if there's a link between cervical cancer and testicular cancer. And because I'd had, as his mother, I'd had cervical cancer and he was a testicular cancer patient, we underdid all these studies on that. We never got to find out about them though, because you do it all anonymous, don't you?
So how did it work out with him and his cancer?
Well, he'd had the lump for, same as me, over 12 months, and he'd been to the doctors 3 times, but every time he got to the doctors, the lump wasn't there. It was gone. And it was the same female doctor, and he'd come back to me, and like, it was 25, and he said to me, Mum, I've got this lump. I said, you told me about that months ago, haven't you been? Yeah. He went, yeah, but every time I go to the doctors, the lump's gone. And it's a woman doctor. He said, I think she thinks I'm being a bit pervert now, because I've been 3 times. It's the same doctor. And they were like, I'm not, I didn't ring again. So I said, I'll ring, and I'll take you. Anyway, we went, and she actually, the lump were there. So she made the referral. This was on the Friday. She made a referral for LGI at Leeds to do the scan on the Monday, and he went down for the scan, and they diagnosed him there and then. Tested for the cancer. So he had a testicle removed, and he had chemotherapy as well. It is a real fear, especially when the 25, his baby was only 6 weeks old. You know, his first child.
I think testicle cancer can be very serious, just like prostate as well. Yeah. And men need to talk about it more. Men need to check themselves regular like we do. You know, I put a video out there, and now I say, when you check your baps, check your flaps. That's, you know, it's a funny way of remembering it. When you check your baps, check your flaps. It don't take 2 minutes. Right.
At the same time,
yeah.
You know that they're done.
Yeah.
They're done, and that's it for another month.
Definitely. So you said when you check your bap, check your flap.
Yeah. When you check your baps, check your flaps.
I need to check both of them.
But us ladies know that, don't we, Di?
Right. So
what we're on about, don't we, love?
It's the same with me. Like cancer is paramount in my family as well. You know, since my mom, you know, I realized that as well. That you know, cancer is very much active in my family. You know, so it is something that, you know, I have to check, and I advise my kids as well, take note of yourself, because when they said like oh, you have to be certain age when you get cancer, etc., I don't think that's the case anymore.
No, 100%.
Especially when it comes to breast cancer, because there's younger people than the age.
A lot younger people.
Right.
Now, when I looked at this scanner of cell carcinoma, it said it's more prevalent in ladies over 70.
Yeah.
So I know I look like I've had an hard life, but I'm definitely not 70.
Right.
And I said that in the video. So when I put the video out, I talked about that, you know, the say it's prevalent. And a lady commented in my comments and said, my 9-year-old daughter had it, and she had to have reconstructive surgery. A 9-year-old daughter. Then a 23-year-old told me about her journey with it, and a 32-year-old told me about her journey with it. But then there's people who've said, my grandma died of that because by the time she would, you know, told us she had it, it was too late. She was too embarrassed to tell anybody. So it does. There is, you know, elderly ladies can get it more than younger ladies, but you'd wonder why elderly ladies, if it's supposed to be a form of skin cancer. Yeah.
Like I went to the doctor a few times and, you know, request test, because like I said, since I found my mom with it, I am going to take, you know, checks. But they keep saying to me, you're too young, you can't do this, you can't do that. I think doctors should stop tell people that they're too young, you know, because you can never too young based on what my research is showing. Because there's a lot of young people have been diagnosed with
cancer. Yeah. A lot of kids get diagnosed with cancer. Never had it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where's it all coming from? Is it all this processed stuff that we're eating and injections that we're forcing us to have? And you just don't know, do you? Yeah, definitely.
What would be your advice to someone that's living with skin cell cancer just like you?
You just need to keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it. I have to be I'll have a check now in 12 months, but I will regularly check myself for any more lumps down there that are not. So what you're looking for is anything that's not usual for you. So like you check your breast, ladies, you know what your breast feels like, don't you? You know your own boobs. If you found a lump somewhere, you'd think that wasn't there last month. So the more you check yourself, the more you'll know what's normal for you. So if there are any bumps, any lumps that don't go away now, there's other vulva conditions, and one of those is called a Bartholomew cyst. Now, us ladies have a gland each on each side of us flap, if you like. On the top, we have a gland. Now, that's prone to getting blocked, or you can get an ingrowing hair, and that'll cause a cyst exactly where I had mine. So if it doesn't go within 10 to 14 days, please go get it looked at your doctors. If it don't go away, go get it checked. But you're looking for anything that wasn't there the last time you checked, any lumps that aren't normal for you, any like scaly skin that becomes really, really itchy, that you can't, it's a scratch that you can't, no matter what you do, it don't go away. Or I don't know if you've seen eczema where your skin gets a bit scaly, anything like that, any discoloration. So obviously you might have to need a mirror, or you might need your partner to look at that bit for you, but any discoloration, any pigment changes, anything like that, obviously if you get a discharge, obviously you'll know to go to the doctors with that. But yeah, exactly, Auntie J. Anything like that. But there are other conditions. So there is vulva cancer. There's I've heard the cysts are painful, Vicky. So there is the cyst. There's vulva cancer, lichen sclerosis, and squamous cell carcinoma, and they're supposed to be rare, but are not.
No, they said it's like 90 in 100 female, so it is really, really popular. Yeah. So I think every female should really take a 100%. check of their self.
Remove the size of an orange. Bloody hell, bless her. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. If you don't think, if it doesn't go away, because a lot of people will say to you, oh, it's a cyst, I get it, just ignore it.
Yeah.
So if it goes away and then it comes back, go get it checked out. If it's still there after 14 days, go get it checked out. I'm sure your doctor, your nurse, your nurse will do it, who does your smears or whatever, but please go get it checked out. Don't leave it. Lucky for me, mine was slow growing, so I was lucky that, I mean, I'd have probably been sat here ignoring it now if I hadn't tried to squeeze it and mess about with it and made it a bit sore myself. If it had just been there not bothering me, I probably would have left it.
Yeah, for real.
I would have left it, but it was because I messed about with it myself, thinking, oh, what the hell, this has been here nearly, a year now, what's that?
Yeah.
That made it sore, otherwise I wouldn't have gone. So, it's important, it's really important, even if it doesn't cause you any pain, doesn't matter how big it is, it doesn't have to be, mine were like the size of my fingernail. It was 1.5 centimetre by 1.5 centimetres, but they took 2.5. And they were concerned because it were laid on top of a gland, that Bartholomew gland, and they said, we're just a bit concerned because you've had it there 12 months, that it hasn't grown under into that gland. And I was like, and when I saw her face, when she said, how long have you had it? And I said, 12 months, she looked as if to say, oh, bloody hell.
You're lucky.
You know what I mean?
You're lucky.
So I thought, so I said, why, what's up? Like you panicked, why? What's up? And she said, oh, nothing. She said, don't worry. It's just that you have a gland there and on the other side.
Right.
She said, hopefully, you've got it in time and it hasn't started to go into this gland.
Yeah.
It'd have been a different story, I think, if it had gone into the gland.
Okay. Have you get any latest update now?
So my latest update is I had the all clear from the lab.
Right.
So the consultant wrote to me and said, you'll be pleased to hear that we got it all. The cells around it are normal, so they took enough cells, so they got to normal cells. So I didn't need any further treatment.
Okay.
And they said, please, well, they just said we need a check-up in 12 months, so I'm assuming that'll be with my doctor, and to just keep my eye on it. And make sure that there's no other lumps. I mean, my poor lady garden hasn't seen as much action in 55 years. And every time I go outside, I think I'll just have a check. Yeah.
Right.
But that's just paranoid, isn't it? When you get told you've got the big C,
Yeah.
you're just paranoid, aren't you?
Definitely.
You know, absolutely. And it could only be my luck to get it down there. So it looks like I'm fiddling with myself. I'm actually not. I'm just checking that I'm all right.
Well, sometimes in your case, it's best to fiddle yourself, you know what I mean? Because if someone wants to keep up to date with Mad Max, how could they keep up to date with you? Because what some people don't know, you crack some jokes over your page, you know. Sometimes they may be going through some stuff that can help lighten them, you know what I mean? So how could they find you?
I'm always popping up on your FYP, but if you look for Mad Max on here, on TikTok, it's Mad Max. Or there's Mad Max Leeds, so there's two.
Okay.
But the main account's Mad Max. So if they just pop on there, I go live quite a lot, and we just we come on and we do support each other with, you know, diagnosis through illnesses, through treatment and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Milty. Just like to have a general chit chat, you know, how's your day, how's your week? Especially people who we know have just been going through treatment or have just had treatment or...
Right.
We just like to thank you, Milty. And we have a good laugh, you know, we have a laugh and a joke and just general chit chat really. And I like people to come on and have a chat with me, so I'm like, come on, you don't have to be listening to me, get yourself on here and let's have a chat. So
Yeah.
it's an open, friendly space, no bullying.
Okay.
You don't stand for any of that. And anybody welcome at any time.
All right. On this podcast, we have a closing tradition. We also have a opening tradition, but I don't know why I didn't even remember to pray. But we have a closing tradition on this podcast where we ask you, the guests, to leave encouraging words for the next guest coming. The encouraging word that was left for you was from the guest we had. She had triple negative breast cancer. And she's all cleared now. And
oh my God, amazing.
Right. So her encouraging words for you is, no matter how sad you are, get up, keep going. You hold the power to all things.
Oh,
So that is from Michelle.
Tell her thank you. I'll send you mine.
Yes,
Tell her thank you. I really appreciate them lovely words.
Definitely. Mad Max, I really appreciate you coming through and share your story with us. And
welcome,
I'm sure, you know, who were on the live, you know, learn something from this.
Yeah.
And because I'm sure The Rock asked the question, as I said earlier, and you answered her question. So, you know, thank you for sharing your story with us. And that was a lovely interview with Maxine. I'm sure you all could agree. Let me know in the comment section what you think about her circumstances and how vibrant she was while she was conducting this interview. One of the things that strikes me is that stress are one of the contributing factor to some of these diseases that she finds herself with. And that brings to mind to share with you that our next guest will be Dr. Amanda. She will be telling us about stress and how stress link with some of these diseases that's affecting us today in this and age. You do not want to miss that podcast. Please, if you like what I am doing and you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit that subscription button. It will grow my channel so I can scale the guests and give you more interview with substance just like these. Thank you guys for your continued support. See you next.